Dead chat.
Hey guys, I just found this crazy new streamer, and what he's done is absolutely crazy. I cannot believe it, guys. Like, this guy is literally the pinnacle of sin. Literally the pinnacle of sin. Like, come on, dude.
Did we add him?
Exactly. Come on, dude. Literally being here the whole time. I love men.
If you're watching this, you must be clinically depressed. I am watching this because I've got no friends.
Hello everyone, how's Karen and the kids? How's Chris doing at the YMCA? Today I'm going to be acting super apathetic and aloof to the issues being discussed at first, but then act butthurt later on in the video while struggling to live up to my cool, edgy, and non-caring persona. With us, we have Boxy to talk about something kind of interesting. Anyway, let's get on to the real question. Who is Time Buggy? Time Buggy started his channel only a few months ago, but it's been growing pretty quickly, reaching more subscribers than myself in only a fraction of the time. Most of his videos are about a political movement, if you will, called MGTOW, or men going their own way, and his distaste for them. That's not a criticism itself by no means, it's just something worth noting. In fact, I also don't agree with the sentiment myself. I mean, from what I understand, these guys are just feminists with a new name and opposing talking points. Anyway, you can call him somewhat of a keyboard warrior.
Fighting for the honor of all fair maidens of the land, Wilson tantalizing them with the most righteous of indignation, sworn to ignorance of his low-key sexism and hypocrisy that the creed of social justice. A chivalrous knight to rescue the so independent and strong, yet simultaneously victimized and oppressed women that he deems worthy of saving, recklessly putting up shields of safe spaces and microaggressions around his damsels in distress, saving them from actually having to improve themselves and freeing them from the shackles of independent thought and responsibility.
Oh, he is a simp!
Now, I don't like using the word simp often. I dislike it significantly when people use the word myself, and I'll tell you why. I'm a sixth-wave feminist. Okay, now that the minimum wage job having feminist that wasted your scholarship on a gender studies major has abandoned this video in peace, here's the real reason why I don't care for the word simp.
Simp used to mean one who's easily manipulated by the opposite gender, typically a man. A simp is the type of guy to pander to basically whoever gives them attention and is easily taken advantage of.
Yeah, but I mean, now it's just a little phrase for people you disagree with, and it destroys any opportunity for conversation or really coming to a real conclusion that could potentially benefit both parties. Now, one may call Time Buggy a simp because he doesn't seem to notice how contradictory his arguments are, and the double standards he sets. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's move on to the analysis of some of his videos. I'm not going to be analyzing each of his videos because of these reasons. I want to keep it family friendly, it doesn't relate to the topic of this video, or I don't know enough about this video to really call it out, and I'd rather not have to dig through tons of videos to figure out the cool context of the story. Psst. Hey, future broke son here. There's also another reason, me procrastinating on this video for forever, which ultimately means that I missed probably like 3 or 4 videos by the time this is out.
Of her. The whole premise of her video is that MGTOW are violent women haters. So that means she's non-violent, right? If that was true, then why is she pro-abortion?
Okay, so
Code 155, we have a pseudo-intellectual weave on our hands.
starting off strong. Instead of explaining what MGTOWs actually believe, he chooses to attack abortion.
Well, guys, it's time we get into politics, I guess.
Why'd you do that?
Because I can hear you from my Babies are being murdered.
And by the way, the women are always saving the men. We're not going to think about changing the men, it's the women.
I basically did everything. And Gene did a little, like, towards the end. But it was mostly all me.
Side note. Okay, but, like, hear me out. He's about to talk about his views on abortion. Which would actually be how he views violence and his worldview. Which, I mean, kind of what you asked, isn't it? Now, I don't really agree on MGTOWs with a lot of things, but abortion, I do agree with them on. I mean, you're killing a separate being, honestly. We'll get into it after this clip plays.
Something that's solely there to undo the effects of, like, violence committed by, you guessed it.
Whoa, did you know that men are the only ones that can get women pregnant? That's crazy, bro. Look, I know that you think that men can get pregnant, but, like, that's a stupid argument to everybody else. Now, for the argument in relation to involuntary acts that cause childbirth, this is really the case. According to the Gut Institute, the reason most frequently cited were that having a child would interfere with a woman's education, work, or ability to care for dependents. Dependents being other children or something like that. These are reported to be 74% of the reasons stated by women. Fewer than 1% of women have chosen to obtain an abortion due to violence caused by men. Even if you look at feministforlife.org, you'll see that even they admit that most abortions aren't even necessary, even to save a woman's life. In cases in which a woman's life is in danger along with the baby, most times the baby is dead or going to die, and it is not considered an abortion.
It's also there to prevent people from becoming parents when they're not exactly ready, because believe it or not, accidents do happen.
Okay, so just because you make a mistake, doesn't that mean you should still be held accountable? Now, I used this example like twice by accident in this comment section, so if you've seen this before, that is why. But imagine you're playing baseball in a suburban area, and you hit the ball, and it lands through somebody's window. You didn't consent to the window being broken, but you played the game, and you knew that that was a possibility. Would you, even though it's an accident, right, you'd still have to pay for the damages, right? Now, the example that Time Buggy uses in his comment section when people argue his position, he uses an analogy in which you bought something that you didn't know had peanuts in it. And what he's saying that everyone else is claiming is that it would be morally right to eat it because you made a mistake and you should just die because of it. The problem with that argument is that it would be like buying something and you knew it might have peanuts in it and then you ate it. And then if you ended up getting an allergic reaction, you tried suing said restaurant.
The more we talk about it, the more you'll see that this guy does not agree.
Abortion is a procedure where you take a vacuum and tear apart an unborn child limb from limb until it dies. Pro-choice or not, that's pretty violent.
So it seems his logic here is that organ donation is violent because it involves cutting open a dead body and harvesting their organs and then moving those organs to living patients.
Wait. You just compared organ donation to abortion, where the organs being extracted are from a dead person and you're ripping a living being out of somebody else. That's interesting. That's interesting. And everyone keeps using the same argument that, oh, it's a woman's body, it's a woman's body. I get it, but here's the thing: if you keep using that argument that just because it's from a woman's body, it doesn't really give rights to human beings, does it? I mean, my mom could just put me on a roof and then kick me off, exclaiming, "This is Sparta," and according to your logic, that would be perfectly fine. That'd be perfectly moral because I'm not a human being. Because apparently I'm just a clump of cells and nothing more. And I know what you're thinking. That doesn't relate to anything. I mean, I'm talking about two different things. You're 15. You're sentient. Well, where do we draw the line? That's my question. When does a clump of cells become a sentient being? that's protected from homicide. I mean, personally, I find it easier just to say, hey, at conception, that's where life begins, so why not? Much better than trying to determine where exactly we draw the line, when we can just stop it altogether.
So he's kind of saying this could help someone in need, but it shouldn't be done because it's violent.
She's also perfectly okay with single motherhood. Look at the communities who have high rates of single motherhood. Their crime rates are through the roof. Single motherhood destroys communities and creates violent people. These kinds of contradictions are all over this video.
It's crazy how you say that, but 10 seconds ago you were talking about how violent abortion is. Wouldn't you be for abortion if you believe that single motherhood is such a harmful thing?
Wouldn't you be for being a responsible adult instead of having to get an abortion every 2 weeks? If you thought single motherhood was destructive? Oh wait, my bad. Oops, sorry. You think it's fine that mothers have to raise children on their own because you take it as empowerment, I guess, and not a problem that should be resolved.
And like, you say that as if it's purely the woman's fault.
He literally didn't say anything to that effect at all. You're just putting words in his mouth.
If she's left as a single mother. Of course, MGTOWs neglect to mention that 66.5% of first-time fathers leave their partners.
You don't have a source to back up your claim, therefore it's irrelevant.
Now, I don't really know the full context of the clip, but it seems like this other guy, his name, think before you sleep. Right. It seems like TBYS here is just refuting the lady who I don't know the name of, and she said that single motherhood was good. Now, I would agree with the assessment that single motherhood is awful, but PTB basically says it's men's fault. That women can get manipulated and tricked, but never opens up to the possibility that the same thing could happen to a guy. Besides this, PTB seems to negate all responsibility from women as if they can't be responsible for their own actions. Ignoring that women file for divorce about 70% of the time, get awarded about 90% of the child support, and that women can accuse a man of being the father and sue for child support if said man can't prove it isn't his within 30 days, or that DNA tests don't account for any men that are related to the suspected father, such as a brother or a cousin, or that the DNA tests that are issued by court aren't the most accurate ones that can be used, or that only a handful of people review all of the said DNA tests as they spend around 10 minutes reviewing each one, or that a child is automatically assumed to be the husband's even if there's evidence to suggest otherwise. Yeah, your statistics make perfect sense. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't defending deadbeats. I'm just making a statement that you really can't tell whether or not the child was actually the father, therefore you can't really speak for all men about being a responsible man because they could have been very responsible. Not to mention cases like
Hermisman versus Sayer,
where the court rules that even when a woman has committed violence against a man, the man is still obligated to pay child support, even if said man is 13 years old and the woman committed the statutory subsection of such violence.
I think what you mean to say is, it's very irresponsible of men to think they can leave without having to contribute anything to the life they took part in creating.
I think you mean it's irresponsible for both parties to just ignore the mistake they made and ignore any accountability because they claimed that it was an accident. But like, actually, how do you justify the type of double standard that you just set? Oh, yeah. I guess there's only one word to explain it.
Simp.
A lot of my channel is dedicated to the ability to identify women who have untreated childhood trauma so that we can avoid these women in our personal lives. It's not our job to save them, it's their job to get treatment.
Wow. There's a lot I could say about that one statement, but like, I'm having a hard time picking which part of that is the most bizarre. I think it says a lot about a person who openly admits to avoiding problems rather than helping them.
I think you're confused here because the other guy, TBYS, was literally talking about, well, actually, and you too, were talking about relationships specifically. So you kind of just twisted the context in order to mean just like your everyday interaction. Also, nobody's obligated to try to help somebody just because they're going through something mentally, right? Not really anyway. Not like stranger. Not in your context, right? I mean, most people aren't therapists, so they can't really gauge what the right thing to do is or the right thing to say. So I don't know what you mean.
You don't even have to help. The least you can do as a human being is feel sympathetic. Like, I have no idea how you plan to avoid these people when more than 60% of the population has experienced some form of trauma in their lives. That's right, I can look at Google numbers too. Is someone supposed to apologize for being beaten as a child? Should a woman be sorry for being the victim of sexual assault? If your answer is anything but no, I don't need a witty one-liner to tell you that you're the problem here.
You know, I completely agree. That's a great sentiment, except he never said any of that.
People who are untreated victims of child abuse will ruin your life.
There's a lot that's wrong with being abused as a child, obviously. But what's so disgusting is the trauma that you experience is going to be with you for the rest of your life.
Okay, I'm going to agree with him for almost all of this portion, so I'm just going to skip ahead to where I disagree.
Child experience could manifest into more toxic behaviors as an adult, right? But I think it'd be better to call out those people on their behaviors and at least attempt to right some wrongs rather than stating, if you suffered trauma as a child, I don't fuck with you.
Okay, here's the problem I see. TBYS basically just said to stay away from people with toxic behaviors untreated. He did not say uncured, because there is no cure, as he said in a clip that I didn't show. But you can't have the attitude of, oh, they'll change. Oh, I can fix them. That's how toxic relationships form. And, you know, domestic abuse cases.
And even if there are gender differences, like, there are still outliers, there are still people who fall at different parts of the spectrum. Not every woman is only controlled by her heart, and not every man is only controlled by logic. It's a big spectrum, all people are different. You can't make these big sweeping like generalizations and use it as a bad thing. As human beings, we're all controlled by our emotions. We're all controlled by our emotions. You can't make these big sweeping like generalizations.
So she makes a sweeping generalization about all people, then immediately after says that generalizations are wrong.
Alright, so in the video he's using, the girl says you can't generalize people, and then the MGTOW says, well, look right there, you just made a generalization. I think it's fair to say people tend to be different from one another, but he desperately wants to feel like he's superior to this woman.
Obviously, you didn't watch the video, because what TBYS was saying was that she said that all people are guided by their emotions, and then stated that you can't make sweeping generalizations. What she's trying to explain is contradictory. I don't really understand. I would say that he's trying to act superior, but the reasons you stated were completely irrelevant. As always, I don't hate the guy or anything else like that, so please don't go dislike bombing him. Anyway, I guess that's gonna be it for now. See you all later. Hey, sorry about the delay. Some things happened, and this video was kind of made like way long time ago. So, you know, there's that. Sorry for the late response. So here's another thing, just one little thing I have to address. I'll put the comment ups on screen. We had a bit of an argument, right? And then this self-righteous guy right here, right? He acted superior in the comments section. I wrote a comment on his newest video, right now anyway, and then he goes on to say how proud he is that he's not a bigot. Like, that's the standard, man. But anyway, then once I replied to him, he deleted my comment, which is why you will not be able to see it. Part of this script was gonna say that I might not make another video about this, but considering his behavior, I most certainly will. Oh, and also, he doesn't like Australians.
Ironically enough, this...
Oh god, as if things weren't bad enough, he's Australian. Jesus Christ, this voice.
Garfield tried robbing me of all my belongings, but don't worry.
What's up, gamers? So I promise this is the actual last intro, okay? I just needed to say a few things. Thank you very much, Sir Hero and Angel, or Lushy. You guys know her as Lushy. Thank you very much for helping with the video. Sir Hero he made the finished product. He made the entire parody on his channel. The one that you heard, he actually sung that. That was him. So check that out. link in the description. Also, promotional video in approximately 3 seconds. Watch it, or Karen will take the kids. Peace. Are you kidding me? My mic was muted for the 11th time. This time it was on OBS. Okay. Take 55.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Well, now I guess I'll tell you about my YouTube channel. Well, my channel is mainly about gaming videos, since I have nothing else to do. Anyway, my channel name is Slushy. You should definitely consider subscribing to see more epic content. Currently, I only have 100 plus subs, which is honestly amazing since that's my milestone for this year. And also, I've posted 6 videos. Here are some of the clips. Bro, what the frick is wrong with me?
I see your name. I see your name. I placed water. Drop.
Please, down water.
Oh, you're here?
Yeah, girl. Girl, play down the water, girl. I did it! Oh my god, okay, that's a scream for me. That freaking scared the crap out of me. You're not me.
Oh my god, I hate it. No.
Oh my god, I hate that chat. That's the best thing I've ever done. I need a... Well, for now, goodbye and have a fantastic rest of your day. Yeah, you should subscribe. I will go to your house and murder you. Wait, what?
Please away, service with follies, planes and 19, screams blasphemy, hates Australians, and I say,